ladies and gentlemen. It's a chess show. My name is Sasha Starr, and we have today our guest, Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on again, and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you so much. Happy Hanukkah to you, the same. And Jim Eid from Eid Foundation. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Sasha. Happy Hanukkah.
You too. Thank you so much. Happy Hanukkah to you as well. And of course, we were all witnessing in the last few weeks the great triumph of Caruana in St. Louis, where he established himself as a preeminent player of our generation, because it's very unclear whether not Niemann, but Carlsen will return back to classical chess, if and when. But with absence of him, in my opinion, Caruana is number one player right now in the world. And and so there is a kind of a time where Carlsen is not playing classical chess. Okay, let's put it this way for now. And the Niemann is on its way up. And some people believe that Niemann will eliminate the Caruana and Carlsen and just anybody else in the world. It remains to be seen. It hasn't happened yet. The certain signs show that it may happen, but it hasn't. However, I would like to concentrate on something what I was trying to ignore for a while. Then I was taking a little bit more attention to that. And in the last few days, it appears to me that the matter is much more serious than I thought even 2-3 weeks ago. The issue is that Kramnik, who investigated all business of online events, their system of prizes, who wins the prizes, how they win those prizes. So first he started with a certain allegation against Nakamura, that judging from his series of 45 and a half out of 46, his incredible prowess at last round of titled Tuesdays. For some reason, he wins all the last round games. And not only that, he analyzed the structure of payments in titled Tuesdays. All of a sudden, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not $20 here and $35 there. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, Ken, please.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I've actually had a little bit of a look, but not. I'll still admit, not a comprehensive look because I've been busy into what he's been doing. So have you seen anything more than a chart of 15 players for Title Tuesdays? The 15 top players, according to their improved play from round 7 onward when they were in contention for prizes.
What, in your opinion, would provide more interesting pictures than this one?
Okay, so one thing is he's taken the top 15 players off the chart. I don't know if I have it on my home machine. I don't have it here.
No, because, Ken, that's where the money is.
Well, but here's the thing. You need to take the whole distribution.
Why?
Players who are in the same category.
No. I disagree with that. You analyze, it's like in a court, the judge asking the bank robber, why did you rob the banks? He says, Your Honor, because that's where the money is. You follow the money. You analyze people who are making those hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't care about me or Jim, who will be maybe playing in this.
You need to show the whole domain.
Why would you
in a
spend
category that you've defined? Otherwise, you are leaving yourself open to selection bias, cherry picking, and you are unaware of basic properties of statistical distribution, such as the standard deviation. He has not quantified the unlikelihood of taking the top 15 or so players out of Title Tuesday. Okay, and the basic statistical procedures are just not being followed.
Again,
you could if the standard deviation is 60 in its measure, and he shows 200 as a top. And if there are 1,000 players in his category, then what he's showing is exactly par and nothing more.
Ken,
got
I think that
Big book.
speaking from purely mathematical point of view, you are absolutely right.
Yes.
But that's not mathematical issue; it's a money issue.
No, it's
that's
not.
not
And
that
the
what you-
inflation of that is the cause of much misunderstanding and mistrust in this world when it comes to statistics.
Yeah, because if you take a population, say 100, and you concentrate on the top 10, of course they're going to show an outperformance. That by definition, they will be outperforming. You know, so it's skewed, and you have to take the entire distribution. I agree with Ken.
What he is proving is that these players, specifically in the last round, in the 11th round, they showed a performance of way much higher than their statistic would show for the rest of the tournament, the first 10 rounds. They would show incredible performance of 3,100 LR, 3,500 LR, just name it, which is impossible. First of all, mathematically, it's impossible to achieve such a performance, specifically in the last round. It's not even in the 10th round. It's in 9th round. It's 11th round.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is where my busyness at the end of a university term with a final exam next week is keeping me from jumping in full detail.
Okay, Ken, you will have more than enough time. You know what? I wish only one thing. I wish that will escalate, and it's already almost there, to a court case, when there will be a time for statisticians, mathematicians, chess.com people, Nakamura perhaps, and some others, to really come up with the help of experts, lawyers, and somebody else to prove one way or another. Because right now, all what Kramnik is alleging is that chess.com is unfair platform which allow money to be distributed to people who are cheating. And he went further. Last time when I heard him a couple of days ago, he's now going much farther than Nakamura issue. Now he's saying that all top players who are winning these hundreds of thousands of dollars on chess.com, they're all cheaters. 100%. No more Nakamura issue.
So let me just say, I cannot show I keep a web page, private web page, that is viewable to both chess.com and FIDE with the distribution of Title Tuesdays. Now, I will say that I have found some individual instances of cheating. I think in at least one notable case, chess.com credits me with finding it before they did. Okay, so at least take the point that my page is sensitive enough to catch some things, so that therefore the absence of phenomena can be read as absence of evidence can be read as evidence of absence in this case. Okay.
Okay. My feeling is, Kramnik is has a high status in the chess world, but I tend to go with a guy who's a specialist like Ken in this, and I don't think Kramnik is. And I also think there's another phenomena that's going on here, which is older players such as myself were used to face-to-face competitions. And, when I started playing chess online, I could tell some of these people were cheating. So, there was no question that this person with an ELO of 1100 was playing great against me, so there is cheating online. But can you prove it in cash-oriented competitions? That's why we rely on people like Ken to tell us. And chess.com has their own methodology. I'm not sure what Kramnik's methodology is, but there's a problem that players my age are more suspicious of online chess in general than younger players. Younger players, and Nakamura is 35, so he's not technically young, but he grew up in this world, and so they're just more comfortable with this. And if he's not complaining, and someone that is is, you know, it's just like, if the stats aren't there, the statistics aren't there to support an allegation, then I am mistrustful of the motivation for accusing someone of cheating. It's it's a very serious accusation. And if you don't have the statistical background to prove it, then I just think you should shut up.
I'm going to wheel out the bomb on this, okay? So I've hemmed and hawed about whether to do this. Okay, so I mean, Kramnik has the advice of a statistician in Israel, and I have discussed this with Emil Sutovsky, Grandmaster Managing Director of FIDE. So, there's been a lot of discussion about whether my data should be public. The screening data, my Z-score data, that's not even on the internet. Okay, that's completely private. I do put my screening data at private links for convenience so people can consult them. There was one breach that someone notified me of last June, and I changed the thing in the URL. So apparently that's been kept out. But there are some data points that I think should be public. And one of them, I'm not going to show my Title Tuesday data, of course, but the closest parallel in volume is my data of the in-person Olympiads from 2010 to 2018. And I think I've also included the Chennai Olympiad. And they're a calibration thing for my formula. So here we go. So we're going to try and think of this via Kramnik's logic. I'm going to skim the top person from my Olympiad data. And you tell me whether this person is suspicious using Kramnik's lines of reasoning. So here we go. So this URL, if people feel I should change it, I'll change it away. But it's connected via Data Olympiad. So this means to be public. Now I've taken just the ROI scores of.
I can't see what you're looking at, Ken.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah. It's going to take a while to load because there's a lot of data here.
Yeah.
So this is sorted by my ROI field, in which it's on the scale of 0 to 100 coin flips, where 5 is the standard deviation. So 50 is the expectation, and 65, as you see highlighted, is 3 standard deviations above the mean. So I've done one thing that Kramnik hasn't done. I have created a normalized index out of my table. Okay. Now, actually, this curve has fewer outliers than one would expect. Okay. Now, there are 2 different engines here, so maybe I should divide by 2. So there are 1,100 separate player data points here. So you would actually expect 1 or 2 to be over 65. This is probably pretty good. If you care about expectation without the lumpiness of the distribution, then from 2,200 data points, you should expect 3 scores over 65, but there aren't any. Nevertheless, wow, Emil Sutovsky matching Komodo 13.3, almost 70%. And he's got the highest matching figure here. So if I go back to my MMP, so this is sorted by MMP. Oh, it's worse with 2 different engines. Emil Sutovsky has the top 2 scores. Okay. So are you going to apply this logic to think that he must be cheating? I mean, after all, look at that. He's top score out of all these players. Okay. And of course, if I just show you the top 15 data points of my distribution, then everyone is over 60. 60 is outside the normal range. What are the odds that these 15 players, and of course there are prizes in the Olympiad too, moreover, okay, we actually have an example of a player who cheated in the Olympiad to win a prize. And yes, I've got him on this list. Okay, so there's proof that players with prospective prizes have cheated in certain rounds of the Olympiad. Okay, so what are we supposed to say about this data? What is Kramnik saying that I'm not?
Kramnik is saying that in Olympiad is a very different animal. Although you mentioned there are some prizes involved, the prizes are very, very insignificant. It's an event held once every 2 years.
Yeah.
So nobody will concentrate on that. But title Tuesdays are every week. And we are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And I have hundreds of thousands of data points.
Yeah, and that's an argument that goes to motive rather than merit. You know, the motive is there, but where's the merit to the argument?
The merit of the argument is that Kramnik painstakingly analyzed the several such events like Title Tuesday, and he followed the winners and their movement from round to round. And he did a very, very comprehensive study that all of them exceedingly played much stronger as the quality of the moves are concerned in the last 4 rounds, and specifically the very last round. In the very last round, several of them, not just Nakamura or maybe some other top players like Carlsen maybe or something, but even the average grandmasters who finally won the prize, and we're talking about very significant cash prizes.
Right.
They played exceedingly much stronger, specifically in the very last round. So this is why the players who played last round but already didn't have chances for the prizes, it doesn't really matter whether they cheating or not. Oh, you can have your opinion, but it doesn't matter. He's talking about money issue more than anything else.
So
And
they
that
would have had a
money-
greater matching score? So that what Kramnik is saying? They matched the engine's prediction higher than expected? Or is he just saying that the quality of the moves were better?
everything. The performance is better. The quality of each move is better.
But the matching against an engine is what I would ask. You know, does Kramnik address that?
Well, you can
I
agree.
mean,
that
how do you cheat if you're not
for
using
some
an engine?
reason, in the last round, many players are playing better than engines.
Well,
Either
yeah,
using stronger engine than one you are referring to, because there is more than one engine right now.
Sure.
And if you want to compare the move of a player in the last round to several different engines, and you'll find that he played the first line of 4 engines, and in the fifth engine he played less optimal move. But on the other thing, he could play even stronger move in the fifth engine, stronger than all those.
Yeah, this is getting down into the weeds.
Yeah, okay,
and it's precisely because there are weeds that this is going to take me a long time to piece. So for one thing, first of all, yes, there have been instances of cheating at Title Tuesday, and I have a fairly good estimate of how much. I communicate with chess.com about it from some time to time. Okay, so I can't, simply negate what Vladimir Kramnik is saying. However, Vladimir Kramnik is making a population size estimate. Now, he said some things that are demonstrably overstated, okay, like 20% of the field. At least now he's done a more careful experiment. The second reason why this is going to be hard to pick apart is that there are 2 genuine effects that I would expect to be genuine, that are overlaid on what he's trying to say. So one of them is conditional. If you are in contention for a prize at round 7 of Title Tuesday, it means you've been playing well since then. It could also mean you were very lucky, but on average, it means you're in good form. Maybe you ate a bowl of Wheaties in the morning. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that effect, the effect of form, is something I've studied, and it's difficult to pin down. It's
Right.
not as strong as people like Mikhail Krasenkow expect it to be. But it's there, in some small part. So there's that conditional. So if I say I do get a little positive bump in my own tests, it may be due to that. And then the second thing, this again is a real phenomenon, is that when you are in contention for a prize, your adrenaline does kick in. You may actually perform better for completely natural reasons. Okay, so tiredness, for instance. So normally, if you're playing out the string, you'll let tiredness take over, but adrenaline can postpone the effects of tiredness on a natural player. So I would expect to see that as well. And I have not been, had time to do studies of tiredness. I'm right now monitoring an international term that is playing 2 rounds a day. So I'm curious if I can isolate depression in that score. So these 2 effects are there. And the only way you can do responsible science to argue that you have an effect beyond those 2 is if you first put in place the tools to quantify the other effects and to be able to judge deviations beyond that.
And I have another comment in that there's something that we have to be aware of. It's just a danger. It's not an accusation. It's confirmation bias. So if I'm Kramnik, I can go to a statistician of some repute and say that in my mind, they're cheating. Can you find the evidence to prove it? And so the statistician would find that evidence. And, this is what confirmation bias means. I see what I expect to see. So
Kramnik is mentioning in his videos that he's approached chess.com and FIDE on many occasions without any results. So I think Kramnik already engaged a top lawyer to look into it. He wants to sue chess.com and all grandmasters, whoever won any significant prizes in Title Tuesdays, and sue them for millions of dollars. Well, there's another nice try. Why Newman could do it, and why Kramnik, who has probably better credentials than Newman, and he will hire all kinds of statisticians, lawyers, mathematicians. He will hire just anybody, whoever he can, and not just in Russia. He lives now in Switzerland, so he has access to Western European experts of all kinds and so on. He wants, definitely, he wants attention to what he's alleging. And so far, he hasn't got that attention.
And that's, he
wants to buy attention. Okay, lawyer, what do you need? You need a 50,000 retainer. Here is your retainer. Okay, what do you need? You need 10,000. Okay, here is your retainer.
And that's where you hire lawyers, is to prove what you say. Right. And that's what they do.
Exactly.
you should expect that chess.com has paid due attention to this. Okay, they really have.
And I think it's a great deal for a chess world. It's a great deal for 3 of us, for Ken especially, but even for me and Jim, it's a great entertainment. It's a great news. You follow it. So Kramnik will lose his case. He will be out of, probably at the end of the day, $250,000. He can live with that. And maybe he will be successful. Maybe chess.com and others will settle with him. So he'll make some money out of it, but it's a great.
But Sasha, I'm not so sure it's a good thing for chess and for people such as myself. You remember when Jen Shahad was interviewed in the Wall Street Journal, and hundreds of women signed letters saying that they were experiencing sexual aggression and all of this stuff, and maybe it's going to heighten the awareness around, and it's going to be a good thing. But the casual people that I talk to, all they see and hear and repeat to me is the headlines. Now they're going to just say, you chess people are cheaters. You chess people are male chauvinist pigs. And it depresses me that this stuff is getting the headlines. It's, if you take the long run look at it as you are doing, it could be good for chess. But right now, I just don't like the headlines being is so-and-so a cheater.
Well, we are still far away from headlines. We are still safe for next 2, maybe 3 months, I think, if everything will go according to what it is. But you see,
there's already articles in the UK. I just read what Ken was saying to them, and so
Right.
It's already headlines.
Relative to the opening of that article in the Independent, I was going to say before that I would really like to see a match between Nakamura and Caruana, like the Fischer-Rashevsky match of a long time ago.
Ooh.
So that would interest me quite a lot. Two players with different styles that have also, because Nakamura has also been stating his case, and he's won more U.S. championships than Caruana did. Well, he's a little older too, so.
Yeah.
So you would propose that will be over the board match?
Yes, of course.
Well, Nakamura's credentials over the board have been proven. I mean, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But he's much greater player online than on a real over.
In Blitz, though, he's always been even better.
Mhm.
You know, he's been not only just world class, but like one of the very best.
Right now, probably he is the best in Blitz. Even I think Carlson admitted that he was talking about bullet chess. And he said that in bullet chess, Nakamura is second to none. Nobody can touch him. Okay, so there is still 1 minute. It is 1 minute game. There is 3 minute game, 5 minutes game. Increments. And,
right. But I tell you, one of my favorite world champions was Anand, and not because he's a nice person, or at least seems to be, but also he didn't take that much time to make his moves, and he was very accurate. So I really admired that about him. Is that, if you're watching the games online, you don't want to watch the same position for too long, and Anand would move. I like that. Nakamura the same way.
I remember he was playing in one Amsterdam International Tournament in 1990. And at that time, Nava and I, we were in Amsterdam, and we saw him actually how he played. And Polgar sisters at the time, they were playing in different tournaments. It was a very interesting situation. He was just amazing. He was playing almost without thinking. He could spend maybe 18 minutes for the whole game. And he didn't play on the level of Karpov or Kasparov at that time.
No, he hadn't gotten to that stage.
But his level of play was very, very high. And a lot of people were surprised what they saw. And in 1992, he was already a contender for his World Championship. And in 1995, he actually played Kasparov for the World Championship. And it was fairly close match. Anand even was leading 1-0, and then Kasparov started to take over. But he proved he was a great player. And I think the greatest his achievement was when he dismantled Kramnik. At that time, Kramnik was still very strong, and somehow he dismantled him, especially with black pieces in Slav defense. He made Kramnik almost like a little boy. He just completely dismantled him. And then, of course, came Carlson.
Yes.
And, Anand, he was already well past his prime, I think. And,
and
he couldn't fight.
And also, Anand kind of sympathized with Carlson's decision to not defend his title, because he was saying how difficult it is to defend over and over again. It's just so draining to be in that kind of intensity over and over again. So
also in a long run, you even mathematically speaking, it's a losing proposition, because by winning these matches, you don't have anything to gain. You're already world champion.
Yes.
And once you lose your match, it's a downhill. So the best way to deal with this problem is not to play, which what Fischer did.
Yes, I know. An open wound in my heart.
I can break in with some news.
Okay.
While we've been talking, Hans Niemann was crushed by Volokitin.
Oh,
really?
Berlin. Berlin is not a draw. So
no more.
No more. So we could look at that.
Well,
I was
he was
intending
+1
to show
going into that.
Niemann's brilliant game from earlier in the London Classic.
Yeah, please.
Oh, and there's a new name. There's a new old name, Mickey Adams. I don't know what he's doing this round, but he's leading the tournament.
And Mickey Adams was doing very well through 4 rounds of that tournament. I haven't updated my figures there. But
and Luke Shane is in the tournament too,
right?
Which is also a name that I hadn't heard for a while.
Okay, so I'm just sharing the tab.
Okay.
So here we go. Vola Keaton, a newly minted Brit, having come from Ukraine. It still shows with the Ukrainian flag there.
He played many times for Ukrainian national team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see my board?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah,
Not
no.
yet. Okay.
Now we can.
Now you can. Yes. So Berlin Roy and White Castle. So we're going to go into the main line. And there we are. The queens come off. So the hotly disputed main line of the Berlin. Is it a draw? Well, let's see what White does. So Black plays for some early simplification. I must confess, I really don't know the nuances of this line. White just develops. And White has a latent advantage with the pawn majority on the king side. Black is going to try to whip up counterplay with the two bishops and just general better centering of his king and play with his rooks. But it obviously has to materialize. So Black brings his king out of the way. I wonder if that was necessary now.
And now, can you help me remember? Was it a Lasker Capablanca game where he played the exchange Ruy Lopez and won because of the majority on the king side?
Yes, that's the famous St. Petersburg 2014.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember. Right.
So this is now White is successfully able to restrict the activity of Black's bishops. Now this move, obviously, the engine has already said I don't like it.
I don't either.
And it's going to enable White to cement the passed pawn on the king side.
Right.
Okay, I'm looking. No, sorry. What it's going. I'm sorry. I'm reacting to something I remember from later in the game when Black makes the pawn push f5 later. That's what I meant to say. Here it is. So what this enables White to do in a few moves is cement a two-pawn majority on the king side. Okay, now, so this is really a very nice combination. It's not even the engine's first line, so the move is not one of the engine's first line moves, but it's going to establish absolute positional dominance in very short order. So I did have to move the bishop, but now here comes the key move, g5.
Right.
Okay. So the point of g5, Black wouldn't have profited by bringing the king to f6 because then there would still have been the pin on the f file. But the point is that now Black has no counterplay whatsoever. Where can Black's rook go? It can go to d2. He actually put it here. Now White just defends this pawn. And now, yes, the problem is if Black had played the rook to d2, I bet White's would have made a queen on the king side with no black pieces over there faster than Black would have been able to gobble pawns on the queen side. So here we go. So White now can just build up slowly. So in fact, Niemann actually is going to give back the exchange.
Right. Says, please take it.
Have some stuff on the king side. Here we go.
Yeah.
So White just shifts. So White plays around with the position a little bit, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. The brilliant thing about this position is that White's position just plays itself.
Yes, and you could take your time. You don't have to decide. You could repeat moves like this, and you're just fine.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get the bishop to f6.
Right. And there we go. And now Vola Keaton has calculated a win because you have g6. Even if Black tries rook takes h4, you're going to eventually have a discovery of g6. It doesn't happen right away.
Right.
But at any rate, Niemann did not. But let's play the line if Black had captured this pawn. Okay, so the answer is you win the other rook. So, and if king f8, knight e6 is mate,
and you get it with check too. So it's okay.
Yes, that's right.
It all falls down.
Yeah. So Niemann played this and then gave up because what's happening is so it's actually the engine can see checkmate.
Yeah.
So it's actually king f7, g6, and then now we're two rooks up. We're making queen. It's over. Okay, so that so that will
So Neiman was +1 going in, so now he's back to even.
right.
And there were a whole bunch of people at +1. Adams like half a point ahead.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we have more of an update now, but it was
Um,
very tightly bunched at the top. So
yes,
after
yes.
round, yeah.
It's an entertaining tournament. Do we have time for me to show his game against Shreyas Royal?
One more, yeah.
Okay. So the two nights defense, Joko Piano.
What's old is new again.
Yeah, what's old is new again. I learned this as a child. I had this well, I didn't learn it to quite this depth as a child. And moves like Queen B8 to A7. I actually saw in American Chess Magazine a reference to this idea. And to tell the truth, Shreyas Royal actually gets a perfectly good position in this game. So it's like, black is two bishops, white is restricting them. White is going to rely and eventually win with the excellent squares for the knights that are available on the king side. But first, white shores up the other part of the board and actually tries to push back at black. So now white has solved the problems of vulnerable pawns to some extent and is leaving black the onus to say, what are you going to do with your pieces? And black's reply, the fact that Shreyas Royal thought that this move was necessary, is already an admission that what the queen and bishop are doing has to be reorganized.
Right.
On the other hand, black's position is not bad. It's going to take white a while to build up. And this is actually the first mistake that Shreyas Royal made. Black should have just tried to get the queen back with b7 and queen over to guard the...
Ken, my instinct would be to play something like bishop a5 to try to create that terrible bishop.
Oh, that's a good idea. But I think actually it gets pinned by rook a1. That's the
right.
problem.
But you can go to queen b6 and...
let's see if it gets into trouble.
Maybe it does. Oh, maybe you can just pile on it again. You can. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Right,
and
right.
it's pinned to the rook too.
Yep.
You can't do that.
Yep.
But anyway, knight g8, maybe the wrong idea, but I think black's position is fine again from my memory of how this game goes. Because at least
rather play white though.
Yeah, I guess you'd rather play white, but white's rooks are not yet completely in the game. Yeah, so here's the point where Shreyas Royal acted too soon.
Right.
So should have relocated this bishop d8 and f6.
Yep.
And there isn't white's knights are good, but there isn't any punch behind white's attack yet. White's rooks are not ready to join in. White doesn't have another pawn battering ram.
I agree with you. That's true.
Yeah, but this, however, opens up the position where, well, I mean, it's not bad. Now we've closed up the position. So now we play bishop c7. Black is
So
still...
the bishops are not an advantage in this kind of position.
Right. And now Neiman very boldly refused to retreat his knight and played the pawn forward to support it. And so this is where now bishop d8 was a mistake, although I must say it's absolutely the most natural move I would make.
I agree.
I might have played bishop e5, but bishop d8 coming to g5 as a defensive measure would definitely have appealed to me.
Yeah.
The engine wants black to play queen b8 or bishop b8 to put pressure on this diagonal, but I think that would take much more careful contemplation.
That's true.
To see the counterattack is going on. So now Neiman's at least not worse. And then Royal decided to take the plunge. It's still okay, although now black's bishop is definitely shut out. But if you say this position's easier for white to play, you're probably right. And so a very natural move like queen e7 turns out to be a mistake. Instead, the idea of chopping off defenders.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, this loses a pawn, though. So look, this looks like
but your
catastrophic move.
But yeah, the G and F6 is the problem, right?
Yeah. But on the other hand, now at least black has some play on the G file. White's rooks are the knight on G2 really stops white's play in some ways. So it means that black is not imminently going to lose a race to put on the G file. So white has compensation for a piece. So that would have kept black even. So the queen e7 move. Now white is able to get to the G file first. So black, oddly enough, lost a crucial tempo in that. So so now
it's too late. Yeah.
Right. Now bishop e5. This looks like a strong point defense. And it is, except that white is able to come and now we start. Yeah, now you see white is building. Now suddenly white's rooks are coming to the G file, and this is optional.
Whoa.
This is where Niemann began his brilliant play. Okay, so get rid of a defender, bring that, and now get rid of another defender. Okay, and now we've calculated this, and we're going to win black's queen, and
still have mating threats.
It's a decisive attack.
Yeah.
So a very attractive game.
Very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for showing that, Ken.
Yeah.
So that shows what Niemann is capable of, and we'll keep watching him, of course. He has a great future from.
Oh, I'm confusing Volokitin and Vitsyugov. I'm sorry, Volokitin's from Ukraine. It's Vitsyugov who is the newly minted bread. Okay.
Oh, he's still in Ukraine. Well, great to know.
Yeah, Volokitin's still in Ukraine, and Vitsyugov has an advantage and 2 passed pawns in his game against Shreyas Royal. So if we give him, he is back in the standings. So this wouldn't even get him up to this would not. It would get him up to an even score, 3 out of 6. So it's Mickey Adams actually with a 2-point lead, with a 1-point lead. If Gukesh wins, then Gukesh can come to within a half point. Gukesh versus McShane is a very interesting position.
How many rounds are still left?
No, 3 more after today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this round 6, so 3 more.
We'll talk about it next show.
Yeah.
In the meantime, thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Sasha.
Okay.
And looking forward for next week, same place, same time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We live in exciting times.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Get to work, Ken.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right.